we started with like a little 2-bed garden right down over there. You can see the remnants of what's left. It should be gone by now. Yeah, we started it during COVID. The kids were young. We're talking 5 years ago now, I think it was. But we started a garden, tomatoes, green beans, all the basics, and kind of just kept going. And we had been talking about doing chickens for a couple of years, and like we finally pulled the trigger on it last year. The boys and I, we actually built this hoop run right here last spring. It was just before I had ankle surgery. We kind of got all that done. And we started with we had the original six chicks. 2 of them identified as roosters right away. And then we weren't too sure about the third. So when he started, we had an issue or two. But this year we expanded. Somebody in town was getting rid of 4 laying hens that were the same age as ours. So we picked up this run, enclosure plus their coop with a little run on it. So we basically went from 3 to 7 and then decided to get 6 more chicks this year. Half of them ended up being roosters and they were given away. So now it's just down to the 3. So it's technically the Fontaine 9 now, even though they all have different last names. If the kids will explain that a little bit if they need to. But yeah, we loved it. My wife was hesitant, but she ended up loving it. They're fun. They're really fun. When I was hurt all last summer, I'd sit out here, and I would just sit out here for a few hours, let them kind of zip around, and we'd have a blast just watching them. But they're very enjoyable guys. Our garden has kind of moved and became part of the whole environment over here with the cinder blocks. And just kind of like growing straight out of the cinder blocks. Get a 12-foot tall sunflower. Our tomatoes really took off this year. Some herbs, peppers. I've tried squash for 3 years. I finally have one growing this year, so that's a big deal.
How did you find out about the roosters, and what did you do?
Well, we let them grow. They mature a little bit, and kind of being new to the whole chicken raising and everything, we waited a little too long, which was part of the issue. We had a small little rooster, looked like the one in Moana, and it wasn't good. The 2 that identified very early were very combative. They were not good, so I kind of took care of that as humanely as possible, just kind of like a wringing of the neck. And I did it. We didn't eat them, we didn't do any of that, but they did get a proper burial out in the woods. The third one, all of the original roosters were named after Sopranos characters, and the third one was Dr. Melfi, who again turned into Jonathan Melfi at some point. But he was a little more challenging, and when I finally went to go do the deed, we had the kids at school, and I kind of figured it would be as simple as the first 2, and it was not. He was a little bit older. I went in, did the neck, went completely limp, felt good about it, like we're good. I'm kind of poking and prodding and kind of testing him along. No signs of anything. So we kind of went out a little bit past the wood enclosure back here, or the wood area. We had a nice little burial spot, kind of right down by the tree. I had dug down about a foot, should have been more, but I ended up getting down about a foot. Got them covered back up, nothing, no movement, no anything. Go back in the house later on, finish what I was doing, made some lunch. All of a sudden I hear him, clear as can be. He's like, I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, there is no way possible. I come outside and there he is, good old Dr. Melfi, perched right on the top of this rock, right over here, staring at me. It was like, eventually I was very freaked out at first, and then I was a little upset because I don't want, I'm trying to be as humane can be about everything. And I felt very, very guilty. He was obviously in pain. So I was just going to kind of end it as quickly as humanly possible, and then I couldn't catch him. And then it turned into a whole thing. And he would run up, and he ended up staying in the woods for the night. And the next morning he came back down, and he seemed right as rain, just completely right as rain. And he actually let me pick him up again, which I was shocked at, and kind of checked him out. But he had a bulge kind of up in the shoulder, and I kind of finished him off that morning with it, and just guilt-ridden about the entire thing. I did not feel good for a couple of days. I actually had nightmares that night involving chickens, but it was all good. It was all good, and it was all necessary. The next step, I don't think we're going to advance this too much more. We had talked a while ago that we were debating whether or not we were going to stay or move or sell or kind of do some of that stuff, but we have no intention of selling, and at some point we'll kind of run a little bit out of room, I'm sure. But of course the next joke in the house is it's going to end up being, a goat. But we're not doing that. The neighbors do not need to worry about us having a goat anytime in the near future.